data science. With that, I thought we'd break this session up into two distinct speakers. Our first will be Lexi Mastroianni, who is with Basin Intel. As a founding member of Basin Intel, her work focuses on developing innovative solutions and providing real-time data insights for the oil and gas industry. Using advanced data analytics to stress assets and other valuable information can offer a tremendous advantage and more economical opportunities over traditional methods. Her previous experience at Extract Data gave her a solid understanding of data aggregation and retrieval of public records and application of business analysis. With that, I'd like to welcome Lexi.
Hi everyone, my name is Lexi Mastroianni. As Nick said, I'm founding partner of a company called Basin Intel. We do business intelligence for the oil and gas industry. We're here in town. And really my passion is data science and IT solutions. And I was super excited to start this company and kind of bring those to oil and gas. So I love this definition of big data because when I talk to people in the industry and our clients, everybody tells me that big data is just seismic, and that is not what big data is. Big data is everything. It's crazy. So I love this definition, irrespective of the industry we are in, when you have data being generated at a pace faster than your ability to consume it, we have what is called big data. I have some slides to show you just how much data we generate. So this is crazy to me when I learned this statistic. 90% of the world's data has been created just in the last 2 years. Like, that's an insane amount of data, right? So Domo, which is one of the top software companies for business intelligence tools and data visualization, did a study in 2014 on social media stats, and this is a few of the highlights. I mean, think about it this way. Every single minute, users share nearly 2.5 million pieces of content on Facebook. Every minute, users tweet nearly 300,000 times. And every minute, users send over 200 million emails. A lot of data, a lot of information. It also means we're slightly addicted to social media these days, right? And data comes not only from social media posts, but it also comes from sensors used to gather data. GPS in our cell phones, digital pictures and videos. And think about what's happened just in the last 2 years on the internet alone, right? These stats are from 2014, so they're most certainly exponentially bigger today. It's just changing faster than we can keep up, faster than we can wrap our heads around. So I love this infographic that IBM created. They've figured out that we generate 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are uploaded every day. Here's some numbers to kind of show you what a quintillion is. And data is doubling every 2 to 3 years. So remember those stats I just showed you were from 2 years ago. So imagine how much more we have. So the days of analyzing data without computers and software is pretty much over. You can't just copy and paste this amount of data anymore. And my favorite part about the infographic is that they put Gangnam Style on this, and the reason why that's really interesting is because it was the first video to hit 1 billion views on YouTube, and it actually crashed YouTube. YouTube was forced to actually change their view limit to over 9 quintillion of views. And if you don't know what Gangnam Style is, you can find the millennial sitting next to you and they'll be able to share with you. So for those continuing to fight technology, they will, without a doubt, lose their competitive advantage. So this is another graphic I found in a Forbes article that I thought was just great. So this is big data landscape as we see it today. And notice that Access and Excel are nowhere to be found on this list, right? Like Excel is really great still when you still need to create quick little graphs. But if you're trying to store and sort massive amounts of data, it just doesn't work anymore in this landscape. I mean, even these companies in this current landscape, this current view, are having to constantly innovate to keep up with things. I mean, the landscape is always changing, and that's the really cool part. The more data we generate, the more we have to find ways to keep up with that. So using big data in oil and gas, I mean, by now you're probably thinking, why does this apply to me? Why should I care? And you know, it's really important. So I hope to show you guys a little bit about why I think it's important to oil and gas industry. So technology in oil and gas has come a really long way, right? I mean, in respects to drilling. But on the data side, it's still at least a decade behind other industries. Most notably, here are some of the industry challenges we see a lot here at my company when we're working with clients. And the collection and analytics of land data is pretty archaic as it stands. So we're constantly trying to translate big data into solutions that can be used to solve these industry challenges. I think the industry challenge that's most important to me on here is staying competitive in leasing and mineral buying. I mean, technology's come so far that, right, it's no longer where is the oil located. For the most part, you guys know that. But it's a land grab game, and so that's really where this kind of land and big data intelligence is going to come into play. Which leads me to the importance of data analytics and how it can be used to solve some of these industry challenges. I mean, an example of massive amounts of data, right? All my clients love for me to send what we give them in Excel spreadsheets still, which for the most part works. I try to break it up in small amounts, but you know, a client asked for 1 year of data for one county, and we couldn't even deliver it. Couldn't even sort the data. I mean, it's thousands upon thousands of records. And so, I mean, being a tech company, we obviously have other ways of providing the data, and so that's kind of the solution we had to work out. But you know, data analytics really will help you if you use it correctly. It'll reduce costs, it'll give you that competitive advantage. Best part is you can uncover trends and correlations you might never have known almost instantly, and really lets you make those better, faster decisions. Because there is so much data and new data being generated every second of every day, I mean, companies not using software with the capabilities to store and analyze their data are missing out. Being able to look at the big picture is incredibly valuable. It allows you to gain insight almost instantly. So now I admittedly don't know much about petroleum accounting. I actually had to do some research. And so I was able to find some oil and gas accounting softwares and look through them a little bit. And I was surprised at the lack of integration and analytics capabilities within those softwares. I mean, how many times have you lost data or overvalued an asset or undervalued an asset because you didn't have all the information in one place? Like or even if you couldn't view it all to get those analytics you needed. I mean, so being able to have everything in one place and look at that big picture is really important, because if you don't, it can ultimately affect that cash flow. So I just wanted to make sure you are also paying attention. I know it's early, you probably haven't had enough coffee yet. So I thought I'd just share a little bit of Microsoft with you. Okay, back to the fun stuff, right? So this is an infographic from Oracle, but it's very common in the world of like big data and IT solutions. This is what I look at every day. This is my system, right? So I thought it would help to show you how I got to the pretty graphs that I'm about to show you in subsequent slides. And so first of all, the source data I look at every day is public records data, which is actually unstructured or semi-structured data, meaning it's really difficult to deal with. And then from there, we had to write code to acquire that data, that source data. And then from there, we had to write more code to organize that data. And then we had to write a whole system and build a data warehouse so that we could analyze that data. So then we could turn it into actionable business intelligence to provide you guys with meaningful and actionable information. This is a lot of steps. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes to come up with these graphs and these trends and correlations that I'm about to show you. And I also just wanted to show this because IT is more, information technology is more than just calling Joe up to your office when your internet doesn't work anymore, right? This is information technology and big data solutions. Okay, so we collected data daily on new lease filings, that includes top leases, from over 950 counties across the US, and this graph shows the correlation of those lease counts to oil prices. So we started back in late 2013 and went to 2 weeks ago, roughly, so you can see, and you notice that it's very heavily, they're very, very close together. But you know, oil and gas tends to be a reactive instead of a proactive industry, and so that's going to account for the lag time that you see in these lease counts. You know, and lease counts are still going down, even though oil is going back up a little bit. People are still hesitant. It'll be a while before we start to, that lag time is still going to happen in the lease counts. It'll be a while before we see them start to go back up. Here we have the top active U.S. lessees and counties with most recorded leasing activity. So this is something we track in-house on a weekly basis, something that we like to share with people on a monthly basis. And to us, it's interesting to see how companies and leasing activity have changed. I mean, most notably, and the thing that was most surprising this month to us, is that Weld County had been #1 for the past 6 or 7 months. So through the downturn, the most leasing activity was having there. And between last month and this month, it dropped from 1st place to 4th place. So to us, that was, you know, a sign of some big changes happening. Okay. So another challenge I see a lot in the industry is figuring out which companies are financially stressed in real time, right? So we're talking long before they file for bankruptcy. And so I just kind of wanted to give some clarification before I show you some other graphs about what we use in terms of distress. So we're looking at encumbrances, which means all lien filings, judgments, lease pendants, things that, you know, show that somebody's not paying their bills, or I mean, you know, they're caught up in a bunch of court battles, all things that are going to affect your cash flow. So, I mean, we've noticed a few things about companies facing bankruptcy. They often will start to divest a bunch of assets, and they also have a stream of encumbrances filed against them. And so, again, you know, looking at that information on that company and individuals on a daily or weekly basis can really show you something about their cash flow and hopefully help you predict yours better. So here's some graphs showing the trends that we noticed in companies before they go bankrupt. Here we have Samson Resources and Ultra Petroleum. I think it's interesting. So the blue line is crude oil, and I mean, I don't know if it's easy to see on the bottom there. So the orange line is the distress filings. Again, those distress filings being all the liens and judgments, lease pendants. And so we've noticed that there's always a huge spike, usually a couple months or so before they file for bankruptcy, some downgrades. And it's interesting to note that there was also a huge spike in liens filed against Samson Resources a few months after they filed for bankruptcy. I can't actually imagine that it bodes well to be one of those companies, you know, but if you had known that they were having financial trouble and filed liens against them and gotten first in line, you're much more likely to get at least some of your money back. Another thing is, so Company 1 and Company 2 are companies that have not gone bankrupt yet, and who knows, they may not, but their graphs look very similar to Samson Resources and Ultra Petroleum. Company 1 is a public company, that's why you'll see it has upgrades and downgrades. Company 2 is not a rated company. And so if you want to know who Company 1 and Company 2 are, you can talk to me after, or take a look at our blog. So again, how does this apply to you in Copus, right? How do these trends and correlations make a difference to you? I mean, so this applies to your Copus responsibilities, right? So if you have working interest owners in a JOA and that are having encumbrances filed against them and therefore may be financially stressed, then being aware of that could help you be proactive in managing that financial relationship, right? So watching out for those blind spots in your partnerships. So just to recap, together, data science and IT solutions can help the industry reduce the cost and inefficiencies. Can help you acquire and collect and analyze that data in real time on a much better basis, and uncover trends and correlations like we were able to show you today, and make those better, faster decisions, which is really going to help you have that competitive advantage. So thank you very much. Thank you to Copus for having me speak today, and thank you all for listening. Does anybody have any questions?